I'm Lizzie Claesson, high performance coach. And for the last 25 years, I've had the privilege to work with leaders at Rituals, Volvo, Lego, among many others. I'm also the author of From Suffering to Surfing and Performance Alchemy. Both hit number one on Amazon. I work with a team of amazing individuals at Brighter Leaders. You can learn more about our work at brighterleaders.com. Let me begin with a simple question. If everything in your business changed tomorrow, the tech stack, the people, the market itself, what part of your leadership would still hold up? Throughout the years, I've noticed this is an uncomfortable question for many. Because so much of leadership has been built on what we know, not how fast we can unlearn. And yet, here's the truth we don't always say out loud. What got you and your team here, your clarity, your gifts, your decisions, might not get you where you need to go next. Today's session is focused on a shift, a 10-minute mental gear change that could help future-proof not just your leadership, but your entire team's culture. Let's start with a real story. A senior operations director I coached recently, let's call him Kevin, had been in his role for nearly a decade. He was steady, respected, known for having the answers. The company Kevin worked for had 2 offices in Sweden and merged with a larger company operating across 4 different countries. New systems, younger employees, and multiple levels of leadership that were geographically dispersed and often working remotely from different offices, cities, and time zones. This caused slower communication flow, less visibility into team dynamics, greater reliance on digital tools rather than face-to-face interaction, and weaker alignment across leadership levels. For Kevin, this meant his usual leadership style, built mainly on physical presence, informal chats, and direct communication channels, became less effective when leadership became more distributed and virtual. In other words, initially, his ground shifted. He told me, I keep trying to lead the new team the same way I led the old one, but they aren't responding. And he realized it was not them, it was him. So Kevin did something powerful. He stopped talking and started listening. Really listening. He invited the most junior people to share how they worked best, what they needed, what slowed them down. And he listened without defending his own way. A few weeks later, he said, I stopped leading from experience. I started leading from awareness. And guess what? Conversations became more open. People started contributing more actively in meetings. Small shifts, but meaningful ones, began to ripple throughout the team. Kevin gained trust, and many in the new merged team started trusting each other. That's what future-proof leadership looks like. Curiosity, unlearning and relearning, and being present in more than the physical way. Let's pause for a second and reflect together. What's something, think of one thing, you're still doing because it once worked and you realize it's not working anymore? Take a breath. Let that one land. If you want, you can share in the comments field or send it to me in a PM. Now let's zoom out, because this is bigger than one leader, it's cultural. Another client of mine, a sales director, was tired of the reactive culture in their leadership team. Everything felt urgent, tactical, always putting out fires. If you recognize this, write yes in the chat. So he made one tiny change. At the beginning of every weekly meeting, each executive shared one insight. Not a win, not a metric, but a learning. At first, the room went quiet. People didn't know what to say. Then one of them shared how a decision they'd made backfired and what they now did differently. This helped break the tension and allowed vulnerability among colleagues. Within weeks, the tone of the meetings changed. Leaders started bringing questions instead of just updates. Vulnerability replaced posturing, and decisions got better and faster. That one micro shift changed the culture. This cultural shift and improved team dynamic didn't come from a big official program, policy change, or launch. Instead, it came from something small and behavioral. Allow us to reflect together once more. When was the last time your team saw you learn in real time? Not behind closed doors, but in front of them. Give yourselves a few seconds to reflect, to find an insight and maybe a small action step. Now let's go from idea to action. This could be your moment to shift right now. I call it the Leadership and Learning Sprint. It's not complicated and it's powerful. I'll walk you through it. First, think of one situation in your work right now that feels stuck. Something unresolved. It could be a person, a decision, a conversation, a situation you're avoiding. Now ask yourself, what belief am I holding on to here that might no longer serve me? What belief are you holding on to that might no longer serve you? It could be, I need to fix this myself. They should already know better. This isn't my problem. Let it surface without judgment, blame, or shame. Now, what would it look like to let that belief go? Let's say for just a week. And finally, what's one better question you could ask yourself or your team today? One of my clients doing this 10-minute shift exercise asked herself, what am I assuming that might not be true anymore? This question alone led to a breakthrough. So this is the 10-minute shift. Think of a situation that's got you stuck. Ask yourself what belief you're holding to that's not serving you. Let go of that belief. Ask yourself better questions and act upon it. So you too may go from leadership built on answers to leadership that creates space for better questions. Let me share one last story. A CEO I worked with had a brilliant business mind. He knew how to scale, but his people felt afraid to speak up. He wasn't mean. He was just fast, always ahead, always right. So people stopped challenging him. He didn't want that. So he asked me, how do I create a team that tells me what I don't want to hear? My answer, model it. He started showing up with one uncomfortable truth a week about himself, a mistake, a moment of misjudgment, not in a performative way, just real, human. And his team followed, not with perfection, but with courage. This is what I want you to hear. Future-proof leadership is not always about evolving the strategy. It's about evolving the identity of who leads it. From the expert to the learner, from the hero to the facilitator, from the one who gets it right to the one who's willing to get it real. So what part of your leadership identity served you well 5 years ago, but now might be keeping you from leading what's next? The best leaders ask better questions. They make it safe for others to do the same. They don't chase certainty. They lead through learning. Future-proof leadership is not a set of skills. It's a mindset, a posture, a pattern of curiosity practiced in public. Because when you shift from proving to learning, you don't just lead your team, you teach them how to adapt. And that is the ultimate competitive advantage.